Firstly, is she aware who gave the instruction for the dockets to be transferred? She testified. She also testified that you were quite unhappy, and this can be found at paragraph 60 of her affidavit, where she says, accordingly, on 24 April 2025, I telephonically engaged Lieutenant General Mkhwanazi and requested that we arrange for the handover of the PKTT dockets to the murder and robbery unit in KZN. Lieutenant General Mkhwanazi was, however, confused by the request, as he was not aware of what I was talking about. I informed him about the disbandment of the PKTT and that one of the actions on the implementation plan was that all the dockets under investigation should be handed over to serious and violent crimes in KwaZulu-Natal. She then further stated that you declined to accept the dockets. And one of the things that you are said to have said is that, waze wangimoshela ilanga, General. Are you aware of this conversation with General Sentimole? And what are your comments in relation to what we've now heard on the clip?
Yeah, well, General Sentimole did call me. And understand that they had tried to get the members under my command, to collect these dockets. And those members said, we're not taking anything, not unless the Provincial Commission tells us that. And she then contacted me. And she informed me that there are case dockets that are in Pretoria that must be brought to KZN. So I inquired, what dockets are those? And she said, it's PKTT dockets. And so I was surprised, and I asked, but how did these dockets get to Pretoria? Who are they in Pretoria? He said they're in their office. So I asked, but what are they doing there? Then he said, but don't you know, didn't they tell you that the docket, Charles Bia gave instruction, this docket must come to Pretoria? So I was concerned. I said, no, I don't know anything about the docket. So if you take the dockets to Pretoria, then you must see how are you going to deal with those dockets, because nobody told me about dockets going to Pretoria. So subsequent to that, I then sanctioned the team that is investigating PKTT to come to my office to give me a presentation to confirm what I'm hearing. Upon confirming, I then contacted General Kumar. I even wrote to General Kumar to establish that you are explaining to me, General, about how it came about, but I want it in black and white. So that's how the communication officially started at coming back to me. But she did tell me that. So in listening to this recording, and I'm grateful that when there's no peace amongst thieves, you will see what you see. Because General Spear recorded Sentimole. Otherwise, we were not going to know about this truth. And she then ran around after this recording was given to her before the adhoc committee, before the Madlanga Commission. And she ran to the National Commission, I'm told, she ran to General Kumara to try and justify her action. She has not spoken to me to date because she knows that she cannot approach me. I guess the only time we're going to talk is when there's an investigation somewhere where I need to come and testify if there's anything that I'm involved with. But this, I brought to this adhoc committee to show the committee that what you see may not necessarily be the truth. This is a person who came here and presented herself as a good person. But this is what she's busy with. I don't have the date when this recording happened. Maybe it was shortly after the instruction or it was prior to the instruction. But from this recording, I deduct that she knew about the letters that are written by Spear. Perhaps she might have been the author of those letters. Maybe she compiled the letters on behalf of Spear. I do not know.
Okay. Perhaps maybe we can then go to the next paragraph where she says, on the 25th of April, she called the National Commissioner and informed him of your discussion and the serious reservations that you had. I remember saying to the National Commissioner that there was no way that we could disband the task team and replace it with another task team, as that would make no operational sense. The National Commissioner advised that I engage with the DNC and he must decide on what to do with the dockets. The National Commissioner testified that at some point he told the DNC that he heard that the dockets were at head office and instructed that the dockets be returned to their station of origin. I suppose when I called him to give him feedback of my conversation with Lieutenant General Mkhwanazi, the National Commissioner realized that the dockets were still at head office. Hence, he said, your boss should decide what to do with those dockets. Now, listening to the clip again, and now knowing that General Sentimule and General Sibiya were speaking with one voice in respect of the dockets and not necessarily what this committee was informed. What is your comment regarding General Sentimule's role in ensuring that the dockets reach the destination where they are supposed to, as instructed by the National Commissioner?
Oh, I had listened to General Kumalo when he said General Sentimule kept coming to his office and he will take a cell phone and take a picture of boxes that were lying in the office before the dockets came so that she can send it to Sbiya as an assurance that the dockets are here, which was a lie. That's what Kumalo told me, that she will take photos and send to Sbiya, said, no, I've fetched the dockets, because she was getting this pressure from Sbiya. Subsequent to that, the dockets were delivered. So that's why I said again, Sentimole cannot be trusted. I could not trust her in 2012. That's why I removed her from crime intelligence. I cannot trust her now when she appears before these two commissions. And what surfaces after that is this recording. Yeah. So it's a person that you need to trust with your own, risk your own life to trust. Yeah. Otherwise, I still don't understand how she ended up being in the position that she's in the organization.
Lastly, on General Sentimule, Lieutenant General Sentimule said that in response to this clip, she was using counterintelligence. Perhaps not, it may not be in response to this clip, but in response to her attitude towards Sibiya, she used counterintelligence because she realized that she was not going to get far. What is your comment to that?
That's why I'm a police officer and she's not. Because I'm a police officer, deal with facts and deal with things, not counter and make stories. So her whole career profession is intelligence. So if that, what she was doing, is fine. But in terms of the evidence before us, on a criminal investigation, she did not disclose that what she did, which means she was part of the wrong. It's a clip that is going to make its way now to the team that is investigating the movement of this docket. She was never a suspect, but I'm now presenting to the team because it's a new evidence that we picked up that we thought she was not part of. All along, we're blaming Sbiya alone, not knowing there's a player behind. So this is a person, I don't know in her statement what she gave about a profile career in the organization, but it's a person that has been moving up and down. This side promotion, that side promotion, all the time. But I don't know how she got it right. But it's one of those that maybe as we conclude here, we need to then start talking about some reforms in the organization because she arrived and she ended up being a lieutenant general heading both crime investigation currently and forensic service, the heart of policing.
Thank you, General. I'd like to now move on to Mr. McBride's affidavit. Mr. McBride testified that Mr. Mandla Mahlangu and Mr. Kuba, who were IPID investigators, they submitted a statement to him regarding your involvement in trying to get him out of IPID. The allegation there is that you wanted these two investigators to frame him of wrongdoing so that he can be removed from IPID. What is your comment to that?
It is false. And there are a lot of false things that Robert McBride came and presented here. One of them was that I was not even in a funeral of the late Mahlangu. So it's a story that he made up out of his own, because he just didn't see me talking in a funeral. To him, I was not there. Maybe you should ask Ms. Wakembule where I was.
Okay. Before we get to the funeral, General, because that was going to be my next question, perhaps let me give a little bit more detail regarding this statement. This offer that you made to the IPID, you allegedly made to the IPID investigators, was in exchange for a brigadier rank. If we could just deal specifically with that first before we talk about the late Mandla Mahlangu.
Okay, well, first, maybe let me start here. I don't know when date that he's talking about that I made that offer. I've said that allegations are false. There was never such. But I had heard in the process that from Mahlangu, that there was some intervention from someone from crime intelligence on the issues that we're investigating. I just cannot remember the name. But there were some interferences that were happening at the time. It might be mistaken me for that person. I'm not sure. But as far as I'm concerned, I have never interfered with anything.
Amongst the cases that you testified about, which are at IPID or IDAC, has there been a complaint regarding this very thing that we are talking about?
You know what is strange for me is that there's not even a single of any of the case where mkhwanazi was ever invited to give a warning statement or being interviewed on anything. And these cases, they date back more than 5 years ago. The stories about the case against you, but not a single person has ever come to me and say, Mkhwanazi, give us your version. What happened here? The least I could say I know of investigation. The only one ever that I was approached was last year when Minister Mkhunu, allegedly, according to what was in black and white on the letter from IPID, laid a complaint with IPID on a matter of Impangeni. That was a time when IPID wrote to me to give a statement to explain myself. Before that, there was never, to date. So I can't necessarily talk about cases that I was never confronted with. I don't know. They will make stories about cases. Like many other people can make stories about cases, but nobody has ever come to me to say, there is this case against you.
Thank you, General. If we can now then deal with Mr. Mandla Mahlangu. How did you know Mr. Mahlangu?
You know, the late Mahlangu, may so rest in peace. The sad part is that we're talking about the person when he's not here. And it is a culture of the intelligence community to always make reference to the deceased, because they cannot talk for themselves. The late Mahlangu, I got to know him because of his brother. I met his brother at TUT when we were studying there, who was a brigadier in the police. So we were close with him. He was working at DPCI one stage until he left the police. So I got to know Mandla through him. That's how I got to know Mandla. I got to know Cedric Kabinde through Mandla, because I was not necessarily friends with them. My friend was their elder brother, his elder brother, which was in the police at the time. So the incident of Mahlangu then happens. The brother is working in Mpumalanga at the time. The incident happens in a plot. I don't know the plot. I was never been in the plot. So the brother calls me and he says, my brother has been shot. He gives me the location to come and attend. He's driving from Mpumalanga coming in. I lived in Montana in Pretoria at the time. So the plot is not far from Montana. So I drove from Montana to go to the plot, to the crime scene. That's how I arrived at the crime scene. I didn't even know where the place was. Fast forward, the members of the National Intervention Unit, they assisted with the investigation of the arrest of a person that was identified to have been a shooter. The person is arrested. The members are interrogating this person. And this person tells them that we shot this one and we acted as if it's a robbery. We took this thing to a particular house somewhere here. We left it there. And according to the vehicle, we drove back to Joburg. And I was paid so much money. It's a policeman that coordinated this thing. But to date, there's nobody else been arrested on that case except the shooter. So we believe that there are people that were behind it, that hired this man from Johannesburg to come and do the job. The funeral is held. I'm in that funeral for Mr. McBride. I sat in the front seat on that funeral. but he didn't even see me. I don't know what he had in his eyes. I was in a graveyard. He didn't see me in a graveyard. I went back home after the graveyard. And I was not alone. I was there with my wife. So this is a man who talks things he doesn't know about. And he starts making allegations. I still believe today there's something behind the mayor of Mahlangu. Perhaps we mustn't look too far. We must look closer to the people that he was working with at IPID. I suspect something there with those that were closer to him.
General, you are a police officer with many years' experience, and I'm not sure whether to couch what you've just said as an allegation or perhaps creating some type of suspicion. What informs that question? Perhaps you can just comment about that. Why do you say that? Why should that be probed?
It is because the information I received from the National Intervention Unit members that interrogated a killer. So, but when the investigation is done, the people that the killer were making a reference to are not arrested. The killer is arrested. I think is convicted. But the people behind it, they have not been charged to date. So I believe that it's a case, whoever that is selling the docket in Gauteng, that remain unsolved, in my eyes. And that's why I'm saying I suspect the crew that was around Mahlangu all the time, whether on his private capacity or at work. So when you hear some issues that were happening at the workplace, you also start asking question mark whether couldn't have been compromised at work. Perhaps there's a possibility there.
Okay. If we can then go to Mr. Nkabinde's statement. The ad hoc committee has heard that Mr. Nkabinde participated in meetings where the disbandment of the PKTT were discussed. What was his participation in the implementation of the disbandment plan and his relationship with the minister?
I must say, Honorable Chair and members, I was not in those meetings, so I cannot talk much about the role of Nkabinde except what I read and what I hear about. But other than that, I don't know. The relationship with the minister, I know it was as a result of a murder case that happened in KZN.
Could you expand on that? Mr. McBride testified that whilst he was at IPID, he did an intervention. He visited the minister. He was not the minister at the time, Minister Mkhwanazi, together with Mr. Cedric Nkabinde. Is that the complaint you are referring to, or are you referring to something else?
That is the one that he talks about. That the two of them went there, because that's what Nkabinde told me.
What is your comment to that?
I strongly believe, Honorable Chair and members, that there is something criminal that was hidden by IPID that might have implicated the minister. Underline my words, might have. I'm not saying it implicated him. But I believe, why do I say that? It cannot be that the police walks into your door, they come to investigate, and from there you become friends in a manner that Nkabinde and minister are this close. From that, it's unbelievable. They are operating completely different levels. It made me believe that what made the relationship between the two of them, it's what Nkabinde told me, they became close as a result of that visit. There might have been something that might have been a cover-up. It is a murder case that involved one of the protectors of the minister when he was a premier. The person is killed. His exhibit are found. One of the exhibits is a cell phone. The cell phone is kept as a deceased property at the police station. It is alleged that a protector of the minister, another protector instructed by the minister, went to collect that phone because the phone had some evidence in it that might link other people. So he went to collect that phone. So when there was a complaint about that, it is that complaint that led to IPID, because a police officer has defeated. The case is open against the police officer, not against the minister, against the police officer. The police officer packs his bag, he ran out of the police. He disappeared because he should be charged. It goes. So when this investigation is given to IPID meets up, because they pick up that this member, when he went to fetch this place, he was tasked by the premier at the time. That's why they went to the premier to say, Premier, we are told you're the one that gave instruction. The relationship is built from there. But that case doesn't go anywhere. A police officer that had left the service, when the minister becomes a minister at public service, the man will come back into the police. He's currently working with him. You'll see him one day when he comes in.
The evidence that you gave just now, General, contradicts what the head of IPID, Mr. McBride, testified when he was here in relation to that case. His testimony, even though I'm paraphrasing now, his testimony was that they had visited, he was in KZN for something completely unrelated. And because he was already in KZN, he was asked by Mr. Nkabinde if they could go and see at the time, Mr. Mkhunu, I think he may have been the premier or he may not have been in office, in Mpangeni at his home. But the issue was regarding his protector who had passed, and there was no progress on the investigation on the passing or on the murder of his protector. He subsequently hired a private investigator to look into the matter. And in looking into that matter, I think the Hawks may have then got involved in the matter, but it had nothing to do with a cell phone. Is this now the evidence that you are giving this committee to say, in fact, there was a cell phone which was removed and it led to a case of defeating the ends of justice? Is that what we are now, the evidence that you are leading?
Honorable members, when I was here last time, I told you about the relationship with me and Kabinde, how I got to the minister's house. Kabinde came here, he tried to twist how we got into the minister's house. I testified about knowing Kabinde and Kabinde, how he was appointed at the minister's office. I came in and testified about Kabinde, what he had told me about the operations of IP that involves Paul O'Sullivan and Robert McBride in a house in Sentin. He came here, he confirmed that. So all the things I've been telling you is what Kabinde told me. And two of them at least we can say now comfortably, he said with his own mouth. What was not asked on him is about this case. This is what he told me. I was not involved in the case. I don't know the details about it. I still don't even know the case number, but that's what he told me. Because the question was, how did you become close to the minister? He said, we were investigating. And I asked then what happened to the investigation. He said, no, we couldn't find anything wrong with the minister. But that's where the relationship started. That's what he told me with his own mouth. That led in one stage to invite me to go and meet with the minister. Later he says we went on a boys' trip. You know what is an interesting thing, Honorable Chair members? That day he came to the house. I told him that it's late, I'm going to drive, and you drive in my car. Not my car, my wife's car. My wife's controlled a tracker in that car. How stupid can mkhwanazi be going boys' trip with the wife's car that has got a tracker? We left, we drove there. It was late at night, I didn't have time to call the protector, so I drove myself. I had to do a tactical driving on the road getting there. The tracking device is available for this committee to download if you want. With the details of the car, the starting of the engine in Durban and Mhlanga, the switching off the engine at the minister's house at Mpangeni, the starting of the engine in Mpangeni, switching off at Mhlanga. We didn't stop on any toll gates because there's e-tag in that car. So for Kabinde to come here and try and it's a car that belongs to my wife that I was driving. So it's just an indication that people will fabricate things. So Kabinde said to me, we flew with McBride, landed in Durban, and we drove to Mpangeni to see the minister. The date when they traveled probably was using a state budget. If you go on the records of IP, you should be able to get the records, whether did they travel on that day, what the state paid, the flight bookings. If McBride says he did not fly, we will be able to get evidence. So I'll invite the committee to go and investigate that. It's a record. It's a statement that was used. Bookings of flights were done. And if my brother traveled before that, you must indicate how did he travel. And to throw those records, you'll be able to get the truth.
Thank you, General. Just lastly on that point, is it common for an executive member, like the head of IPED, to visit a home of a complainant in dealing with the matter?
Well, I don't think there's anything prescribed in writing that you may or may not. So I like to believe, as a head of investigation at IPED, you might have all the right to visit the home or visit a complainant in any other place where he wants to meet with the complainant. You might assist with investigation and so forth. I don't know.
Okay. And I think my leader has taken you on this regarding Mlodra, Mr. Sergeant Mlodra, who was here, and Mr. Nangi. I don't intend to take you through that evidence. The only follow-up I have on that is regarding the house, the guest house that belongs to Sergeant Mlodra, which was burnt in Mpumalanga. In relation to that, Mr. Mlodra testified last Friday that police officers from where he lives, I just need to find the exact name, were sent over, and they did find officials who said they were from KZN, even though they don't have the specific names of those officers, but they did confirm that they visited the home. So that's not really in dispute, and I think you also confirmed saying that Senona did tell you that his team went. What is new evidence is that DNA that was done to test the area showed that Mr. Zachariah Desai, who was the individual who was kidnapped, they found his DNA at the house. But what we also know is that the house was burnt a couple of hours after the police officers had visited. Just if you could perhaps confirm when was this DNA taken, and when were those results submitted, and are we able to find them on a docket or somewhere?
Honorable
members,
members,
guide us.
Yeah, Honorable Chair, you see me looking on the phone because I was sending the team the video footage of the house, the alleged fire before and after. The times there, but it looks like quite a long video. I'm not sure if they'll be able to play it for you to see. The entire investigation is done by DPCI, not me and not my team. So the feedback and update I receive, I get it from Jairus Nona. So I don't necessarily have much of the details as to what is. My interest is, has a kidnapped person been found? Has a perpetrator been found? The details of how they go about, he keeps updating me on some of the things. That's why I cannot tell you, point by point, hour by hour, what was happening throughout. I can only share that which was shared with me. That's what I spoke about it earlier. So in as far as that team going there, what time did they get there? For instance, I didn't know from looking at the video, it looks like they arrived at night. What time did this guy come back into South Africa from Mozambique? And when was the date? I didn't necessarily go into details to check that. But what I know is that they came there, they left, a house burned. When you look at the video, you see police cars, although not clear because it's lights. And from the lights disappears. And later, fire comes up. And later, the fire subsides and the fire brigade comes in, or a medical response comes in. That's what you can see on the video. If it can be played, you'll be able to see that.
Okay.
But anything else surrounding that house, even the DNA, I was informed that there was a DNA discovered. Whether it's done before or after, I don't know.
Okay.
Which part of the house burned, which one did not burn, where the DNA might have been found, I do not know.
Yeah, to be fair to you, General, you did testify that you were not present at all in Mpumalanga. I suppose the question was because of the evidence you gave that DNA was taken, but you've now confirmed that you received that information from General Sinono.
The investigation told me about it.
Okay. If you could perhaps furnish us with those details. Thank you, General. Maria. Thank you, Chairperson.
Okay, it's just one or two more questions that we'd like to ask General mkhwanazi in relation to the third directive of the minister. So I think General has covered quite a lot, and the intention was to allow the General to respond to each item of the directive. And I think the remaining item is the moratorium on crime intelligence that's also part of the memorandum. And under this particular heading, General, you've mentioned Major General Khan, and my colleague has asked you about your vetting in crime intelligence, and you've mentioned General Khan as a big obstacle, and that past and present divisional commissioners has had a challenge to get their vetting clearances. And I think it begs the question that I first would like to establish, because I think the name keeps coming up, and not much has really been said about him in the ad hoc committee until I think today, really. So if you could maybe just explain to the committee what the relationship, or what General Khan's role is, first of all, in crime intelligence, and then maybe also the relationship, because I think in the memorandum what is suggested that there is a relationship that General Khan has with politicians and members of parliament. If you could also maybe just speak to that.
I said when I started earlier, honorable members, that some of our politicians, yourselves as leaders of society, you get thrown into the wrong that we do. And you get trapped into that. And you end up siding with them when they do wrong. Crime intelligence has always had this type of people that are evil, that do wrong, but they make use of the people in high position, in powerful position, to manipulate. I cite General Khan here for few reasons. One of them is that, and this is something that comes from his own mouth to me at times. Maybe before that, we have seen an amendment of regulations in the South African Police Service over time. Police regulations, employment to be specific, and ranks. To the extent that the ministers in the past changed these regulations because they were influenced by certain things. Minister Mthethwa, the late, went against the Constitution of the Republic, where the Constitution says there shall be commissioners in the police. By Minister Mthethwa at the time, introduced the rank titles of generals. We are generals today. But the Constitution doesn't call us generals, it calls us commissioners. Regulations were amended, that violates the law. That is but one example. Other ministers came after that. We know of how Minister Mthethwa benefited the wall that was built in his house by crime intelligence. We know the former president with a swimming pool in his house, justified by crime intelligence that it is a fire pool, amongst others. We know of the new regulations that have been published by the former Minister Mbalula, where he then says, I'm taking these powers away from the act that says the national commissioner must appoint. But the minister says you shall not appoint on senior management, not unless you consult me. That's what Mr. Mkhunu used to freeze this post. It's a regulation against the act. It's the powers that the minister granted themselves that do not belong to them. Because the act does not give them those powers, but they took them through the regulations. Minister Mbalula, when he first changed these regulations, he was responding to what he deemed as an abuse that was happening in the police. We had a Lieutenant General Motiba that was acting. A person who joined the service in 1991, Major General Khan, was promoted overnight to become, from a colonel, to become a major general without advertising a position, and he skipped the rank of a brigadier. There was no justification for that. So, but Motiba felt he must promote him from this rank to this rank. And Khan became a general. We are calling him general today because of that. But
Sorry, Chair, if I may, apologies for interrupting you, General. May I ask just a quick question for clarity, Chair?
Yeah, I think I'll allow him to conclude the response, and you will come up, because she just asked a very short question.
100%.
Yeah.
So Major General can't get promoted by General Motiba at the time, obviously with the support of the HR. But then I think the minister was upset about that. It looks like there were some things that intelligence were doing that might have been used as a reward to Khan, which the minister was opposed to. Then the minister, through secretariat, decided to change the regulations. And from that time, we had to then go via the minister for us to fill the vacancies. Again, changes because of Khan. He had worked in different areas until this PSS division was started and he became part of it. It is there where he became closer to politician. I'm sure majority of the people that are in the building, let me not say the African National Congress, honorable members, but the people that are within that building of the headquarters of the ANC knows Khan very well, because he brags about it. He moves up and down that building. Members of EFF will come and say they know Khan very well, because it's very tied with the lead of EFF. So Khan is this person who has played politics to get his way. And that's a danger that Khan brings into the picture. I said he's in charge of counterintelligence in the police. He was in charge of the vetting section where all the profiles of everyone sits. So he's a person who's been that powerful. So Khan started fighting with Khumalo, and he will come to me and complain about Khumalo. I will ask Khumalo. Khumalo will simply say, Khan's appointment is this post, which is support. The only thing I'm asking him to do is to go back to his post. He doesn't want to, because Gerald Jacobs had moved him, or before that, he had moved him away from there to counterintelligence. Counterintelligence is where activities are happening. And he wants to stay there, because that's where the investigation of these hijacking, kidnappings, drugs are happening. So he wants to be there. But the fight with Khumalo is only about the position. That he doesn't want to be here, he wants to be there. So Khan remains a person that causes a lot of issues to date at crime intelligence. In the past, it was not him. There were many others. But at this present moment, it is him, the key player. And we believe it is Khan that influenced IDEC to behave in the manner they behave. Yes, others might have came in. For your information, at one stage, Khan, if I'm not mistaken, no, not Khan, someone presented here that Adis Mohoti, who said, I had myself and Gerald Clele facilitated a tender for one company in KZN to be issued tender, and that is Magma Security. That's when I realized, after reading that, and I said, okay, now it's clear. Mohoti is just an information peddler. He gets told by Kat about our meeting, but he thinks the meeting is in the Provincial Commissioner's house. He doesn't know where the meeting is. He claimed to have been following Matlala for that. He hears things about this, he claims it's his. He hears things about Thabo Bester, for instance. He claimed he was part of the Thabo Bester. So he claims a lot of things, Mohoti. One of the things he claims is this one of Magma Security. Then when I saw that, beside me having received WhatsApp messages from Mohoti on discussions of crime intelligence, that only person within crime intelligence can share that, Mohoti writing to me and say, Khan is going to update me. It became clear that Khan is a big player in crime intelligence. Now I know him and the Inspector General are very tight. Now come Khan here, I was talking about the issue of Magma Security as an example. I'm going to wrap up quickly. When I arrived in KZN to come and act in 2018, I did not know Magma Security. Khan introduced me to Magma Security. And when I met with Magma Security, and he was breaking about what they're doing, that they are helping with CIT cases and many other cases in the country. And I happened to see ex-police officers that are now working for this Magma Security. And when I arrived there, Places Layer was in the news, a lot of murders. Magma Security showed me the whole chart of the syndicate that's operating in Places Layer. We're able to deal with those criminals thanks to that Magma Security. So I built a relationship with that Magma Security from the day. Now, Khan knows their capabilities. He knows what they're capable of doing. So he, I believe, thinks that a lot of things maybe that are happening are assisted by Mangma Security. They are a good team, I must say. Sometimes they provide information more than what I get from intelligence. And being a private sector, it is Khan that is introducing. So in intelligence on almost everything happening in their intelligence, Khan is in a center. So I was trying to indicate that the regulations are changed, it's Khan. The member of parliament, Mr. Adams, runs around all these other places to open cases. He said to you here, he decided to go to Soweto because he loves Soweto. Soweto is hundreds of kilometers away from both airports, Lansera or or Tambo. He had no reason to say he's going to Soweto. I can tell you, he went to Orlando because there is a member of crime intelligence in Orlando that works with Khan, that walked with him to a police station to go and open a case. One of the ROC members, the member that is in the list of the people that Ket Matlala paid for to come to the January 8th statement. As we see the evidence from Matlala's bill that Mkhwanazi gave him, he said, these are the people who must book their flights. That kennel is in that list. And it's a kennel that works with Khan like this. And it's no mistake, I'm presiding over a case against Khan of drugs and housing. In that case, I cleared him. Because the people that were wrong, that arrived there, that I felt that the organization should have dealt with, they were not dealt with. But they were dealing with Khan. But what was strange in the testimony is that, Honorable Chair, a member of Flying Squad in Soweto, after learning of what's happening in Eratin, that member decided to phone Khan to come to the scene. Khan arrived in the scene being mobilized by a member from Flying Squad who works in Joburg. Why did that member choose Khan of all the people to come and attend the drug issues? I said to you, and I'm saying it again, big consignment of drugs were found there. Khan left it with the PCI. The question remains, did all those drugs arrive at forensic? Were all those drugs destroyed? The modus operandi I can tell you. Don't steal on the crime scene. Take it. En route to forensic, we swap it. When it gets there, it's diluted, and the forensic analyst will test only 10% of it. So you might be clear of not having done wrong, but you know you're going to benefit out of this same thing. So in all what is happening that we see nowadays, honorable members, information lending with honorable members from crime intelligence, it comes from that office that still has General Khan in the mix. I don't know why it does not have a security clearance. You asked me earlier. It still doesn't have, but it's there. So it's majority of the things that I feel, the not filling of the vacancies directive of the minister, it is because Khan wants to dictate who must control where. Because these are senior positions of crime intelligence. If they are filled by Kumalo, they won't have control over them.
I just have one last question on Khan, because we've seen Khan's name come up.
Can we take the follow-up from Honorable Cameron?
Thank you, Chair.
Sorry, Advocate. Apologies, Chair. I'll be very quick. The first one, just for the record, General, you said it was Major General Khan that was promoted overnight. Was there wasn't there another one? They were both promoted overnight, if I'm not mistaken.
I'm not 100% sure, but what I know, what angered the Minister Mbalula at the time, Khan's name was the one that popped up. I don't know who else might have been promoted at the time, but I'm sure the organization can provide that information.
And well, I can qualify it with both General Khan and General Moodley. What was their relationship with Richard and Luli at the time?
Honorable Chair and members, I cannot tell. Khan at the time was junior, the time of Moodley, but Moodley was a general already in KZN. The time of Moodley. So at the time of Mhluli. So I really don't know the relationship. But what I became aware of is that they were operating in opposite directions. Okay. They were in different camps, the two of them. They didn't get along very well. I don't know now whether they are colluding somehow, but from what I heard is that they were in different camps.
Okay. Thank you, Chair.
It's my closing question, Chair.
Yeah, it must be the last.
Yes, Chair. General, you mentioned Khan's disciplinary hearing, and we've heard it from Mr. Adams. Honorable Adams has spoken about General Khan's disciplinary hearings. We've heard it from Brown Mkhwanazi as well. And we've seen in the WhatsApp chats that Mkhwanazi and Matlala were also talking about General Khan. And there was reference that money should be asked from Khan. Are you aware of a relationship between General Khan, Mr. Mkhwanazi, Mr. Matlala, and to a certain extent, Honorable Adams? I mean, he mentioned, and I don't know if he just happened to have known about the disciplinary hearing or whether he has a certain relationship with General Khan.
Look, in the relationship between Khan and Mkhwanazi, other than the messages that Mkhwanazi gave me, sent to me, which in some of those messages, he had presentation of classified information from crime intelligence, where crime intelligence were presenting their policies. So he took a screenshot, or there was a screenshot taken from there and was sent to Mkhwanazi. Mkhwanazi then sent it to me, that screenshot. When I asked him more details about that, Mkhwanazi told me that Khan will brief me. So that's how I got to know that means Mkhwanazi and Khan are in talks. Other than that, I don't know much about their relationship. The other relationship, but again, this one is suspicion. It's not confirmed with anything other than what the chief of staff, Kabinde, told me. He said Khan has been trying to get to the minister, but he has not been allowing him. But Khan found a way of using Mkhwanazi to get to the minister. That was when I asked Kabinde, who is Mkhwanazi? And then Kabinde told me, no, he's a person who's close to the minister. That's how Khan got into the minister through Mkhwanazi. So that's all what I heard about the relationship. Between Ket Matlala and Khan, I don't know anything except what I heard from Mkhwanazi, from Matlala himself, saying that he used to give Khan money as well. But Khan was demanding money. He was not just giving him because he didn't done something to him. He was always demanding money, that he must give him money. But again, it came from Matlala. I cannot necessarily come and be 100% sure about that. The Khan and, you said this Mkhwanazi and Khan and?
And I asked about Honorable Adams.
Oh, Honorable Adams.
Yeah, because you've mentioned him here.
What I know between Mr. Khan and Honorable Adams is that where we connected first was this case open in Orlando. That's where we connected. And we connected Mr. Adams with Mkhwanazi because the person that Mr. Adams went to see in Orlando is the same person that Mkhwanazi flew down here. That's where we connected them. But beyond that is the visits that have been happening at the Inspector General of Intelligence by Mr. Adams and Khan visiting there. That's how we got to know the relationship between the two of them. Those are the relationships that I could confirm that I know of between them. Other than that, Honorable Chair members, there will be a lot of connection from members of crime intelligence with other players that might be associated with Mr. Adams. I made mention earlier of Mr. Adams having traveled to KZN, the facilitation and the whole trip, how it came about. It involves people from this intelligence community and the police.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you so much. The person that you must thank is the chief whip behind you. Because you know that before he arrived, the honorable members have said that you must wrap up at 1:30. So he was, through the charm of his office, he was able to convince honorable members to allow you to the time that you had earlier requested, between 3:30 and 16 hours. We have now come to the end of presentation of evidence. We are going to take just over 10 minutes break and come back at 15:30. The members of the committee are going to stand in front there for a photo session just outside this building. And when they have taken their photos as a committee, they will be joined by everybody who wants to be part of this memory. Can we immediately stand up and go to the place that the chair is directing you to. I'm saying this because I'm looking at you, how you are dressed today. I see that if there is any valuable award we can give you, is to take a group photo. You must have a sense of occasion. You don't have to be told by. You don't have to be told by anybody. You must just have a sense of occasion.